Caregiving can sometimes feel like an impossible struggle. Caregivers may be torn between taking care of loved ones and trying to maintain balance in life. The good news is that it doesn't have to be that way. The Caring Generation with host Pamela D Wilson is here to focus on the conversation of caring. You're not alone. In fact, you're in exactly the right place to share stories and learn tips and resources to help you and your loved ones. So now, please welcome the host of the Caring Generation, Pamela D Wilson.
I'm Pamela D Wilson, eldercare and caregiving expert witness, consultant, and guardian of the Caring Generation. Thank you for joining me for this week's show, episode 240, Caregiving and Family Relationships, Embracing the New Reality of Aging Parent Care, and the topic of shared decision-making. The concept of shared decision-making is more well known in relationships between patients and doctors. However, in my experience, there's value in translating shared decision-making to family caregiving situations. Let me begin with the idea of shared decision-making relative to the need for care. It's a collaborative approach, where the person who needs care works together with the person who provides care. Both other people in the family look at care options, the benefits and harms of all the options to everyone involved, including the person who needs care and the caregiver. Everybody communicates their preferences, and then everyone selects the best course of action, which can change as new information becomes available. The challenge for caregivers is accepting that a parent may have different wishes, different preferences, or doesn't want to take the actions that the caregiver believes would be practical. The challenge for parents is accepting that children may be unable or unwilling to meet all of their care expectations, or to accept the hard realities that come with aging. So, in effect, shared decision-making becomes an ongoing process to find information, talk about it, find a solution that makes thoughtful and practical sense to address a problem. And in both of these situations, there can be willing parents and willing caregivers, and unwilling parents and unwilling caregivers. So we're going to talk about both of these scenarios. We're also going to talk about creating a care plan and using this as the basis for supportive decision-making conversations. I'll also share 2 examples of shared decision-making so that this kind of comes together and it all makes sense. This will help you take steps to arrive at concrete resolutions and decisions to move care situations forward that have maybe been stalled for weeks, months, or years because honestly, you just didn't know what to do or you felt too overwhelmed. We've all been there. If this is your first time listening to the Caring Generation, welcome to the show. If you are a return listener, thank you so much for coming back. Please help me out. Like the show, follow the show, share the show with other people you know, and take a minute or two after the show to post a comment on the podcast app where you listen. Something positive about the show, say thanks for the show, anything you like. Your efforts to do this will help the Caring Generation podcast rise in the podcast charts and reach more people around the world. So let's start with the basics, a care plan. As an individual, you, an aging parent, a spouse, can have a medical care plan and a financial care plan. To be straightforward, putting a care plan together is work, but it is well worth the effort when you use it with the idea of shared decision-making. So, the obvious, where can you find a care plan template? Go to my website, PamelaDWilson.com. Click on the Support tab in the top navigation bar. Then look down, click on Caring for Elderly Parents program. By the way, this is an 8-module, totally free education program in webinar and video format for caregivers. whether you are caring for yourself or someone else. You can use it no matter where you live and where you're listening from. The United States, the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Ireland, France, Singapore, India, Poland, anywhere in the world. And thank you to those who are listening from these countries. You can download the care plan from my website. So on this page, scroll down to module number 5, which is called How to Create a Care Plan for Aging Parents. Scroll down to section 2. And so in section 2, part 1, you will see a pink link called Pamela D Wilson Care Plan. You can download it. You can print it out. This is a health and medical care plan template that you can use for yourself. You can use it for somebody else. You can encourage your aging parents to fill it out for themselves. So, let's say that you are in a willing parent and willing caregiver situation. You, your siblings, and your parents are talking about care needs. And there may not be any needs today, which would be an ideal situation. Or maybe there's a few, or maybe there's a lot. Doesn't really matter. Have a meeting, have a family meeting, give everybody a copy of the care plan. Say, look, I would like for all of us to complete this out for mom and dad so that we have background information that we can use as a discussion to help mom and dad make decisions about their care and to be clear about how we can assist. So when you look at it, there are a lot of sections. So parents' health diagnosis, medications, the doctors they see. There's a place to put notes at the bottom. And so you might want to divide up who in the family will work on pulling information together for all of these sections. There's also sections for in-home caregivers, care communities, end-of-life care, burial plans, all of that. These are all very important topics to talk about. In a perfect world, before you have to make those decisions, so you're not talking about them emotionally. This care plan will help you have conversations with your parents and in your family about where will mom and dad live, who will provide the care, will it be family, will it be paid caregivers, will it be services, and if it's family, what is the ceiling on the assistance from family members from a time perspective? And while you're going through this for your parent, why not start a care plan for yourself? You will be way ahead of the curve in learning how to manage your own care when the time comes. So separate of this, your parents will want to create a financial picture. So this means, what do they own? Do they own a home, cars? Do they have investment accounts, retirement accounts, long-term care insurance? Are they getting any kind of Social Security or government pension? The financial part is equally as important because if you already have not had this experience, the medical part doesn't work without the financial part. So many caregivers are shocked to learn that health insurance, Medicare in the U.S. and plans in other countries, pay for medical care. They don't pay for daily care, which is the help that most elderly people need to live independently. And depending on where you live, there can be wait lists to see doctors, specialists, receive treatment, or even medical care. It can be weeks, it can be months. And so, if it's not obvious, pulling all of this information together can take time. If your parents are not well organized, if they haven't signed up for online access to their doctor's offices and healthcare portals, banks or financial institutions, you may help them do that. If you are not their power of attorney agent, you cannot and should not do this on your own. And you shouldn't be going into their accounts without their permission or without them sitting next to you. Doing this can get you into a lot of legal trouble. So let's say it takes you a month or 2 months or 3 months to pull all this together. And during this time, you're doing more research. You want to keep the family meetings going, saying, hey, we've got, 1/3 of this done, half of it's done, 3/4 of it's done. Now we can start talking about things. And so a practical situation, you or your sibling are helping mom or dad with grocery shopping and picking up prescriptions and maybe going to a few doctor appointments. But now they need more help. Now it's housekeeping and making meals and bathing and pets to the vet. You and your siblings don't have time. So it's best when you create this health and care plan that you look for options. Options for in-home caregivers, assisted living, memory care, nursing homes, and programs that pay for these services if your parents don't have money or if they run out of money. In the United States, this program is called Medicaid. In other countries, there are different programs and names. I recommend investigating programs for what I call low-resource parents right away when you do the care plan. If they do not have a lot of money, figure out what's available, how you apply, timeframes, paperwork, all of that, because it will de-stress you later when they don't have money. It'll also help you make a plan for using the money that they do have in the best way you possibly can before they run out. So, let's say at this point, your parents need more care. You and your siblings can't do it because of your jobs, your spouses, your kids. You just got more going on than you can even deal with. You can say, Mom or Dad, we did this care plan. Gosh, I'm so glad we did this. Look, there's 3 companies here I spoke with. Their contact information here, their phone number, their rates. Why don't you call them to see what they can help you with around the things that we can't? Now, this suggestion can be the first major point of disagreement. Your parents may say, well, we don't need that help. We told you we did. We'll be fine. We'll do it by ourselves. This is where supportive decision-making conversations come in, because they can't do it themselves, and it's risky. And so you have a conversation and everybody sits down and you say, gosh, Mom or Dad, we've given you 10 or 20 hours a week and, we feel bad, but we can't do more. So here's your options. Here's your companies. Why don't you call them? If you need help making the appointments, we'll make the appointments for you. We'll even come and sit at the appointments. We'll help you set all this up. But if you don't want to do this, we got to lay out the consequences, right? You might fall. You might lose weight, become malnutritioned, forget to take your medications. You might end up in the hospital, become injured. Maybe you're going to need more care, or you may not be able to continue living at home. These are things that can happen. Do you understand the consequences of this? So if you don't want to hire a care agency, that's your decision. We're going to accept it. But know that we work, we have families, we have children. We can't be your emergency response plan when you have that fall, or when you end up in the hospital, or when you break a bone. So your choices then are going to become more limited, and that is definitely going to be hiring an in-home caregiver, moving into a care community, or maybe even a nursing home. So the beauty of this whole process is that you've sat down with your parents and your siblings. You've done the research. You have a care plan. You can tell parents how they can help themselves, and they have the choice to do so or not. And as guilty as you might feel, or as emotionally hooked you might be in responding every time your parents call for help, you're not abandoning them. You have given your parents a tool, a process. You're giving them control over their choices, and you're also giving them the choice of living with the consequences of their choices, right? Your parents probably did this when you were younger, right? They made suggestions, they offered information. You listened to them or you didn't. You succeeded or you failed, and you learned. This is how we learn. So when you think of the supportive decision-making process, look at it this way. You've done this care plan project. You're trying to match, good choices between both sides. You're going to have some conflicts that you can look at differences of opinion. You can then focus on the problem and maybe look at different ways to solve the problem, which can require flexibility, because it doesn't always have to be done, A, B, or C. There's probably D, E, and F options. So flexibility. And then in the big picture, you want to focus on what's called making meaning, which is like, how do you translate complex information into simple terms so that it makes sense and somebody understands it? understands their options, the pros, the cons. Maybe you share stories or examples like I'm doing. And then really the final decision is up to the person. It's not up to the caregiver or the person providing support. Now, in all these decisions related to the care plan, a lot of details, a lot of decisions that impact each other. So let's talk about an example of a parent refusing to follow a doctor's order or looking at an option given to them by a doctor for which they have to make a decision. Now, I have a YouTube video on this topic. You can look it up. It's called What to Say When Your Parent Refuses to Follow Doctor's Orders and Says No to Offers of Help. To find my YouTube channel, just type in my name, Pamela D Wilson, and add caregiving expert or caregiver expert. So on this topic, let's talk about an extreme situation. Your parent is diagnosed with cancer that wasn't discovered until it's very advanced, and the prognosis for the future, it's not good. Maybe they have months or maybe only a year to live. And potential treatments like chemotherapy or radiation have a very low chance of success. And if your parent does this, they may feel way worse than they do now. So rather than looking at the situation from a point of doing everything that can be done, your parent's like, no, I don't want to do that. I know I'm going to die. I want to find a way to die well and not be in a lot of pain and not be in a lot of misery. And I know this is an unpleasant topic. It's an unpleasant thought. But so your parent decides on palliative care to manage symptoms, and then eventually they will go on hospice care toward the end of their life for pain relief. But in this in-between time, they're still able to do things. They want to spend time with family, do things they enjoy, maybe take a trip if they're still able. Their goal is to make the most out of every single day they have left. And even though you might disagree because you're grieving their loss, they're asking you to respect this choice. And honestly, if you were in this situation, think about what you would want. So let's look at another example, the one we talked about before. Your parents probably know they need an in-home caregiver, but they're dragging their feet. They're having difficulty walking up and down steps to do laundry. Going out to the grocery store is a major event. They have to take their walker. Getting in and out of the tub and shower, probably not safe anymore. They've almost fallen multiple times. But they're like, no, we'll be fine. You've sat down and you've made meaning of the options, the consequences of their decision. And what happens is mom and dad fall and they break that hip. They have surgery. And the only way they can go home again is with paid caregivers, or they can move into assisted living. So they have choice A or B. And because they made the prior choice, now they have to live given these new circumstances of their life. There's many more examples that I could give you here, but I'm pretty sure you get the gist of it. And I'm pretty sure that if you've been caring for your parents for a while, you've already seen some of the consequences of their decisions. Now, in all of this, if your parents have dementia or Alzheimer's or memory loss, they may not be able to go through a process of supportive decision making. They may no longer be able to understand or evaluate information, understand consequences. And if this is the case, I hope they appointed someone as their power of attorney, medical and financial, who can help them with these choices. If you're looking for more information on decision making and power of attorney and all of that, it's on my website, PamelaDWilson.com. There are articles, blog posts, my podcast, my book, The Caregiving Trap, 3 online courses, and link to my YouTube channel, as well as my podcast on apps around the world. And if you'd like a one-on-one consultation, you can go to my website to schedule with me there. I'm Pamela D Wilson. I am an elder care and caregiving expert, advocate, and speaker with 25 years of experience. My website is PamelaDWilson.com. I thank you so much for joining me for the the Caring Generation podcast this week and our caregiving conversation. Please do help me out. Take a minute before you go on with your day to like the show, follow the show, add a comment, share it with somebody. Your participation helps this podcast reach other listeners worldwide looking for help around caregiving, health, healthcare, family relationships, and the legal and financial aspects and decision-making that go in with care planning. If you want to find this week's show, episode 240, go to PamelaDWilson.com, click on the Media tab, then select the Caring Generation, scroll down to episode 240. There you'll find an article with different information from this podcast. You'll obviously find a link to listen to the podcast. You will find a video that accompanies the podcast and links to other helpful articles. Thank you for making time to be with me. I look forward to being with you again soon. God bless you all. Sleep well tonight. Have a fabulous day tomorrow and enjoy each day until we are here together again.
Tune in each week for the Caring Generation with host Pamela D. Wilson. Come join the conversation and see how Pamela can provide solutions and peace of mind for everyone. Here on Pamela D. Wilson's The Caring Generation.